Hello, and welcome to Words from Yo Mama. I'm your host, Simone. If you're a mom or maybe considering being a mom and you want some encouragement along the way, then this podcast is for you. On this podcast, I interview moms from every walk of life as they share their experiences. So thanks for listening. I am so happy to have this mama on. She's a great friend. She's a wonderful person. I am so grateful to have known her and to have spent time with her in my life. I cannot wait for you guys to hear from her. She's a new mom, so give her grace. Grab your popcorn. Open your ears. These pearls of wisdom from Mama JJ are going to be fantastic.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Jessica Johnson, otherwise known as JJ, clearly. So I used to live in Maryland. That's where I met Simone. And recently, my husband and I, we moved to close to Charlotte, North Carolina. We have a 14-month-old daughter. Her name is Marley. So, yeah, and we have a Bernedoodle named Hoosier. Um, that pretty much sums up everything, I guess.
Nice. They're a great family. They were youth pastors when they were in Maryland, and they were just amazing. So let's go ahead and hop into this podcast.
Let's do it.
First question we have for you is thinking about some parenting challenges you faced. How have you found a solution or a different approach to some obstacles?
Um, so in general, um, I feel like things are changing so quickly with Marley because this is like the first year, with her. So like every single moment is a learning process. Um, so if you want a broader answer, we can get into that. But I was thinking like probably the most recent one was Marley's been struggling to go down at night. Like she's always been a really good sleeper, but like um she just kind of struggles with like she wants to be rocked and stuff. I don't know if maybe we've spoiled her too much with that. And then so like it's been a little difficult to get her to just like lay down in her bed. So the last few nights, tonight was good actually. She went to sleep
Nice.
like in my arms and it was good. It was chill. But last few nights it's been like rocking her for like an hour and then she would not go to sleep. Like her eyes are just open, but she's still so sleepy. So we've been pushing through the last couple of nights and like giving her a few minutes. Like I'm the kind of mom that I want to just like run in when I hear her crying. Like I struggle with that. Um, so if anything, we set like a timer like right at the 15 mark or like, whatever, then we like run in. But um yeah, so we've been giving her a few minutes. That has been a learning adjustment for me and her and Josh, but she's actually been killing it. Last night she like fell asleep in like 5 minutes of like
Nice.
yeah. So that's like the most recent challenge
Yeah.
that we faced. But
That's
yeah,
difficult because you can't just like make your kid go to sleep. It's not like, okay, it's bedtime, go to bed.
I know. And they're so tiny. So like having her understand, like, I'm like leaving her in there and she's like, why are you leaving? I'm like clearly sad,
Yeah.
and then I feel terrible because I'm like, she's crying. She needs me right now. And it's like, no, she's fine. Like, that's just so hard. But I want her to like enjoy her bed. Like, I want her to lay down and like, put herself to sleep and,
Right.
you know, so
She'll get the hang of it. Y'all are doing great. I know you guys are.
thanks. I appreciate the confidence.
Sure. So I know Marley's still just one, so there's not very many memories you guys have right now, but you're developing them. Share
Mhm.
with us a memorable family outing or adventure you had, and how do you think it influenced Marley?
So, one of the most special things, like memorable things, So we started building the cabin
Yeah.
in West Virginia, and we started Airbnbing it out. Well, like kind of a long story short is I lived in the area that our Airbnb is like on that property my whole life basically. And then as an adult, my parents sold their house and moved to North Carolina, which is where we're at now. We're close to my family. But my dad kept land in West Virginia and we own a piece of the property. And yeah, so that's like kind of the long story short of how that came about. But literally before we even got that piece of land on that property, I told Josh, I was like, it's important to me. Like, I really want my kids to know like that part of my life because it was my whole life and it was just a special place. And so it was a big part. Yeah, so I always just wanted, I'm like, look, yeah, I know my parents are moving, but like, I want this to be something that like we do as a family. Like I want my kids to know this. That I don't know why that made me so sad. Like when they left, I was like happy they were I loved where they were moving and everything. Obviously, I live here now. Like I loved it, but at the same time, it made me sad to think like, oh, Marley's like not gonna know that house. Like she's not gonna
Yeah.
know. I I literally lived there since I was two, the same house. So it was hard. But I think that's been a cool thing is during this process of getting this cabin built, it was obviously built for an Airbnb that we would rent out and it'd be a source of income, but also like it's also a place that we can go
Mm-hmm.
and stay, and it could be a part of Marley's life and our life as a family, and just be like a getaway place, which is cool.
Yeah.
So that's been really special. Like we've had some adventures of going to the cabin and staying for like a weekend and getting it ready, but like also doing fun things while we're there. So I know there'll be a lot more memories to come
Right.
too, but it's like a core memory that she is a baby and we are taking her there. And like it's almost like it began with her life too. I guess is the way to say that. Like it's just cool because it was like all in the same year. Like I literally have a picture of us building the cabin. Like we were there for a weekend working on stuff and I'm like pregnant and it was like literally when we first found out I was pregnant.
Oh.
Um yeah, so it's really cool because it's like I have that picture and like my family didn't even know I was pregnant and I'm like popping my belly out like and just standing like like and we were just being goofy, but it's just really cool to think that like it's gonna like memories are gonna grow,
Right.
and it's just really cool.
It's like full
So
circle. It's like you had your childhood there. She's gonna have her childhood there. It's like
yeah,
just it's all full
yeah,
circle.
and it like all happened like she came about, you know, at the same time that the cabin came about. It's just cool.
Yeah, that's so special. Oh, I wasn't expecting that one, Jess. That was good.
Hey.
So you were talking about being sad a little bit. So
Mhm.
not to like keep making you sad, but think about a mistake that you've made as a parent and maybe share an important lesson you learned from that mistake.
Maybe like one of the first things I can think of is I always hear like parents talk about this is like super real by the way, but um I feel like pastors talked about that like his parents never fought in front of
Yeah.
them, and so like I always want to be that. And Marley's still really young, obviously, like, but I do remember the first time Josh and I had a fight, and it was like Marley was so tiny and stuff, I don't even, it was probably something very stupid. Um, but this is probably just the most like moment that like is when I think about, I'm like, oh, that was sad, but I can learn from it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I don't know if that's kind of what you're looking for, but I do remember that. And I remember it's just obviously when you're married and you have fights, obviously they're the worst anyway. Like it's
Right.
just no, it's sad. But like I just remember that first time we had a kid there and like having this fight. And like I just remember the feel, like I said, I don't remember the fight, I don't remember anything, but the feeling after of like, I don't ever like she's someday gonna grow. It was just like a real moment where I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, like, yeah, I don't want to do this. I don't want us to have an argument in front of our kid, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm sure it'll be like little things here and there, but like um it's just crazy the effect it has more like knowing there's a child there, like, you know,
The
and like
mom
we both
guilt.
we're sorry, we're better than this. Like I remember we like had this moment of like hugging and we're like, oh Mar, and it was like I remember it was like right after I think that she maybe had just started sleeping in her room. And I remember I like grabbed her and she like slept in the bed with us for a while. I was like, oh, I feel terrible. Like,
Uh,
she's like obviously so oblivious because
right.
she's like so young. But like in my mind, it was a huge deal. You know, it was
Right.
like that first, you know, it's probably the most disappointing moment as a parent, you know,
To
that
date.
I probably had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
learning curve for sure. And like you said, you don't want to do it, but now you know, like, okay, if we do argue, it has to be something away
Yeah.
from Marley, and it can't be anything like trivial. It has to be like, it has to matter. Like, make this argument matter, Josh. Like, if we're gonna argue about something, make it matter.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because it's almost like you're so used to living just the two of you, you know? So
Right.
like that thought is just not, it's like kind of it's me and you and like obviously we're gonna just talk about this and we're gonna have our disagreement, but like at the same time, then that was like just the realization of like it's not just me and you. Like we have a baby here and look, we're just oh, it just felt so terrible, you know? So
Yeah.
it was definitely a learning moment where it's like, okay, we can do better. We can do better than this. Like and we will. So,
Yeah. So this one I think is super applicable because you are in such a young stage of parenting. And I feel like this is the most, you're growing into the most patient part of your parenting journey. So
hmm,
share with us a time where you had to be patient as a parent and maybe like some positive outcomes that came out of it.
to be honest, like Marley is a very easy baby.
Mm-hmm.
She's a really good girl. Like she's always been pretty easy. Um, and there's definitely been challenges and learning patience with kids, but I do think still the most challenging like part has been like the early stage of a baby. Like it is so hard when like you first have a baby and you're so exhausted
Yeah.
and just you feel so drained like physically, and like I was nursing Marley at the time, so like those nights of like her waking up every 3 hours, that yeah, that is probably the most draining and like tiring, and um so I had to learn patience
Yeah.
during that time. Like it, and I feel like God just does that to you. Like you grow into it. Like
Yeah.
it's like, okay, it's like the small things in the beginning that are like, okay, so then once, I don't know, it's different, but at the same time, yeah, I feel like um it's just growing pains. And in those first days, I remember feeling so like I look back to, and I didn't live near family
Right.
at the time. So that really early phase, like there was times where it was just me and Josh and the baby, and so um which obviously people stepped in and helped. Like Sister Valerie was a great help. Like I remember her coming over just to help me. Like I would go take a shower and she'd just watch Marley, and
Aw.
like I remember she was like, just go lay down. And I'm laying there like looking at the ceiling, like trying to take a nap. But I'm like, this is so stressful. Like, I'm not used to this. Like, so but I think like out of those times learning that patience early on, um, it created like a huge bond with me and Marley. And honestly, those early phases, it's really cool that we didn't have family nearby. Like I obviously having family close is like the most amazing thing.
Right.
But like in those early phases, like just being us three and like me and Josh having to push through and like get past that like really intense stage,
Mm-hmm.
um, it made us close. Like and honestly, like I knew I could count on Josh. It just created like a strength, I think, in our family.
A hundred
And
percent.
yeah, and I look back and those nights were might be the hardest, but they were so special.
Yeah.
Like I was so tired. I'm so thankful for them at the same time. So it was really sweet and special.
I could only imagine because Marley couldn't communicate to you outside of crying. Like she couldn't tell you like, "Hey,
Yeah.
this is what's going on." Even now, like she
Yeah.
can't, but still, like you can read her face. She's got facial expressions. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
kind of
And you
time out
learn them by now.
things. Yeah,
Yeah, like by now, even though she can't talk, like it's like, okay, I know your schedule. Like in the beginning, it's like I have no idea what you need right now. Like,
right.
you know, like there's no way I haven't learned you yet. I haven't learned your schedule and
Yeah,
everything. So yeah, it is unique experience, but it's cool.
nice. So, what are some things you've done as a parent to increase your confidence?
I think you hear it all the time, but when you become a mom, it's easy to like, especially if you have friends that are having babies at the same time, the comparison thing
Mm-hmm.
is like a huge thing. Like, um, just like seeing how other people are doing things and comparing yourself and all of that. So I think learning that really fast on helped me, like help my confidence is like, oh, like everybody is different. Every baby is different. Every parent is different,
Right.
everybody's different style. And learning to like embrace that like fast has helped me. Um, yeah, I would say that's probably the number one thing that helped me with my confidence was just realizing pretty fast, like I don't have to compare like it's just totally different, with
Yeah.
every situation. So
That's huge to hear from you because you nannied for so like you nannied while you were here, so I would think like in my mind like if I were Jess, I'd be comparing the way that my nanny parents raise their kids and how I'm raising my kids and how my sister-in-law is raising her kids. Like it's cool that you were able to get over that so early. So that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about a recent milestone or achievement. I know we were talking about kind of Marley going down early, or
Mhm.
not early, but like being able to sleep and rest. So, share with us a recent milestone or accomplishment your kids made recently.
So probably the most exciting thing that's happened even so wow, it's close. I mean, obviously there's a lot of exciting things in that first year because it's like there's so many milestones they're hitting.
Yeah,
They kind of go together, but like Marley started walking and that's like really fun. Marley has changed so much in her personality. Like she plays so good now. Like you
nice.
can start seeing like her imagination work. So like okay, for instance, this is so funny, but there's like this like obviously she just turned 1 like in March. So
Right.
and it's just amazing like how kids develop like their imagination develops and stuff so quickly like at a young age. um she uh she has this little bag like she loves her baby doll, like loves my mom got her baby doll for Christmas, so even before she was 1 she was like playing with this baby doll, like had a bottle, like feeding the baby. Like it's so funny because it's like you are literally a baby and you're feeding this baby. It's so funny, but like that part is so fun watching their imagination just like. But there's this bag that held the baby bottles. It just has like one strap. And I just started realizing she would like put it on her arm and walk around.
No way.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's like she thinks it's a purse. Well, like this week, my mom and I went to Marshall's. We were just like spending the day together. It was like a rainy day. And Marley spotted this purse that was like shaped like a poodle, and she loves this purse. And it's just so funny because my mom got it for her. Like she spotted it on her own, literally was like, she does this thing where she goes, ooh, 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 like she like gets so excited and just obviously she doesn't talk yet. So she just goes, ooh, ooh, she gets so excited. And so she's like pointing at this purse. My mom buys it for her, and she just walks around the house like carrying this purse, like so cute. It's so funny. And I'm like, I don't even know where she sees this because I don't even own a purse. I have a diaper bag, and like I got rid of all my purses when we moved from Maryland because I'm like, I don't ever use a purse. I always have a diaper. So it's just funny that like she naturally has that in her. Like she's such like a little girl, like, and does it. I don't know. To me, I know milestones are like it goes with the walking because it's just cool to see her like
Right.
walking and carrying things, but also like the imagination thing is so cool,
Yeah.
just to see her.
She's
doing that.
just preparing to be the best auntie she can be. That's all.
That's what it is. She's so funny.
Oh, it's so precious. I can't imagine that. That's too funny. Her feeding a baby and then walking around with a little purse.
I know. I'm like, I don't know. Like with the baby and then the purse, I'm like, I just, I feel like she's really young. Maybe she's not, but it just seems like she looks so tiny, like doing this, you know? And it's just funny that she knows to like feed the baby and like to carry her purse and
Right.
like, so funny. It's so funny.
So, what is one thing you do as a mom for self care or self improvement?
On a daily basis, I would say like my sanity starts like I have to do it in the morning. I have to like start kind of a routine in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, um, our routine kind of is like Marley wakes up pretty early, so I get up when she gets up and like I heat her bottle and like for like routine wise, that just helps me. I make myself a cup of coffee. It's like small, but just starting that, like, okay, I've got her milk, I've got my coffee, instantly is something for me to like help me, you know, that kickstarts my morning. Honestly, if I ever don't have time to do that, I feel like I just, and it's not even that I need, I really don't, I love coffee,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think it's almost even more a mental thing than it is like I need coffee. It's like
probably.
just setting that off, like, okay, I'm going to start my morning. I'm going to make time for myself, make a cup of coffee. And I like to do that. That way I feed her her bottle. And then going from there, I try to like, while she'll drink her bottle and then my coffee is still hot, which now she holds her bottle, so that's cool. Um, but during that time, I try to do like my devotion, like
Mm-hmm.
early in the morning. So our routine has changed so much, like since we moved from Maryland, because, I was a nanny. So like my morning started right off with like my nanny kid getting to my house. So now this is cool
Yeah.
because this is like what I always pictured, kind of like I want to start my morning with coffee and like, and Marley just plays. That's kind of how we start our mornings. So that's my daily thing that I try to do. Um, but then something else that helps me just that moment for myself is well, I have Josh works full time, so I have Marley all day long. Like I'm full time mom, but which is awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I really do. I love it so much. But just taking a walk is like it just does wonders. Like today I got to take a walk and it's just amazing. I love it. I think because in the back of my mind too, we have Hoosier. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I want him to get out. So I think it's just a moment where I'm like, we're all getting exactly what we need right now. Like Marley loves walks. I love walks. I get fresh air. I'll like listen to a book or a podcast or something. And then like Hoosier obviously is like loving his life when we go on walks. So it's just a moment of peace where I'm not having to worry about anybody. We're all happy and just all together. Like I feel, and then I feel accomplished because I'm like, okay,
Right.
Hoosier got his walk in. I got some exercise. Marley got fresh air. Like it's just, I don't know. It is very good for me when I get a day in where I can walk. Like rainy days are the worst because I'm like, I'm not gonna get a
Yes.
walk, you know?
Yes.
So I like look forward to that a lot.
I think walks are the most underrated self care thing ever. Like, walks are so. I used to, like, not think walks were that important. Then I started walking because I wanted to get 10,000 steps a day. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
man, this is the best. Like,
That's
why
awesome.
haven't I walked like this before?
It's so awesome. And you just get out and like I really like the little town that we live in. Like we just got a good area to walk in, like through town. It's super cute. We live in like the older part of town. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like a lot of cute little buildings and
Oh, I love it.
stuff like that. So it's just yeah, I don't know. It just is so good.
So, as a full time mom, how do you balance this? You kind of already answered this question, but as a full time mom, how do you balance taking care of yourself and being a mom? Like, how do you prioritize?
I think I'm still really learning that. I, if anything, I think that's what I struggle with the most.
Yeah.
Um, it's gotten better. I think I'm because I don't know. With them changing, like things are always changing. So it's really hard to like get a routine. And I could probably be better about um like my thing is Josh works full time. Like just is like bringing Josh in the picture too, but Josh works full time. So like anytime where he can watch Marley and I can go do something by myself, I don't really want to
Yeah.
because I'm like enjoying the time that we have together as a family. Um, but sometimes if I don't take advantage of that, then I feel it more. I'm like, I really do need alone time sometimes, you know? So I think I'm still really trying to learn how to balance all of that. What really is the best is like getting that time uh during Marley's naps. Like her first nap in the morning
Mm-hmm.
is really like this morning was great because we just got these new rocking chairs from Amazon. But I'm
Nice.
so excited because like it's just a space for me to go out on our patio, get fresh air and
Yeah.
like have some alone quiet time. So I think that taking advantage of those moments like when I can is it's good. Yeah, that's probably the best. But I'm definitely still working on figuring out how to balance that all. And it's hard because it's not just like full-time mom balancing that and my time, but it's like we're super involved at our church and like, you know, and now we live close to family.
Yeah.
So that I think that's why I'm learning to adjust because okay, we lived like 6 hours away from family for the past six, really 10 years. Like I Bible
Right.
college and everything, you know, like I haven't lived near my family in so long. So like moving here, that's been adjustment. It's a new place. So we're like adjusting to a new area, adjusting to being a family. We're newly involved in the church and like we're trying to really plug in there. And then you just have your everyday stuff. Like I clean Airbnb homes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like I do two different homes a week. So that's nice
Nice.
too. So just balancing all of that, it's tricky sometimes, but
Yeah.
just when I can have that time
It's
and just
important.
realizing, yeah, I'm like, okay, don't clean the house right now. You need like an hour and then go clean the house. You know, just trying to give myself, you know, and not put too much pressure to
Yeah.
like keep up with everything. It's okay that everything's not perfect right now. And, you know, your house can stay dirty for another hour. It's okay, you
Yes.
know. So,
Jess, you're such a wise mom. Like, I don't know. I know you're still 1 year in, and you've got so much more experience to learn and all that. But like recognizing like off the bat, like, hey, I don't need to compare myself, or hey, this time would be better spent just me refreshing myself. Like, I understand family time is great, but I need to spend time with myself. Like, those are huge, and not a lot of moms understand that. So, good for you.
yeah, well, thank you. I think I have that mindset a lot because of how my parents were too. Like just the way, I don't know. My dad was always big into like for instance, he'd come home. This is like a big thing, but it still taught me um so like I remember my dad came home from work one night and was like, "Why don't we just go on a trip like real quick? Like just for like a day." And just making that time, like intentional time for ourselves to like breathe and like, you know, I just feel like that. And I think also um I don't know. I a lot of my parenting style, I think I look at my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, I compare it to that. I'm like, okay, like, and I ask my mom questions about um how she did stuff more than like I understand that there's a lot of different parenting styles, but like, so if anything, it's just comparing to something that's similar,
Yeah.
you know, like basing it off of what I want. And I have friends too that I look at them. There's literally friends that I've been around and I'm like, they made me want to have kids, you know, like being around them and their kids. Like I remember leaving and like from hanging out with them and being like, it just makes me want to have kids. Like if my kids acted like them and, you know, uh, so I think like the whole comparing thing, I think just realizing kind of leaning into what is similar more than comparing, like, okay, I'm nothing like this person, so
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense at
No,
all.
it definitely does. That's so awesome. Well, that's all we have this week. Be sure to tune in next week for more Words from Your Mama.